Chapter 337. The audience felt as if they had just woken up from a dream. They were both excited and distressed. The host is too stubborn. Some people just think too highly of themselves. They think that everyone has to be their mother. Why don't they look at how old they are? I hate this kind of shameless, giant baby the most. Hoo, the host is obviously the one being scolded for no reason. She should be the one being comforted the most, but she comforted us instead. What kind of immortal host am I a fan of? Hoo, I like the host who is fearless in front of anti-fans. She can make them speechless with just a few words. I also like the host's gentleness and patience to ordinary viewers like us. Some people really don't deserve to eat the host's food. Support the host. I'm about to die from anger after reading those stupid posts. Just because the host donated the Chinese medicine seeds for free, they think that the host should always serve others to live up to her reputation. They're really taking advantage of others. Give them an inch and they want a mile. Shameless to the extreme. Yes, all departments pay attention. In the future, if you see such comments on the internet, you must tell everyone that the host is being kind by being willing to help others. Endless requests for the host's contribution are shameless. Saving you is kindness, but not saving you is also duty. The host doesn't owe you anything. Su Yiyen looked at these comments that were sincerely considerate of her, and she couldn't help but feel a little more warm in her eyes. Well, let's not care about these annoying things. Next, let's draw a prize. As usual, after picking out a few audience members to send out a portion of today's dishes, Su Yiyen turned off the live broadcast and took the dishes out. Hu Chenhuan saw that she turned off the live broadcast and spontaneously sat at the dining table to wait for the food. Su Yiyen saw this and smiled slightly. Did you wait long? No, running around to do so many things every day. It must be very tiring, right? Su Yiyen was slightly startled. She was a little tired from the full schedule these days. She thought that she had hidden it well, but she didn't expect that Hu Chenhuan had already found out. She opened her mouth and wanted to say that she wasn't tired, but when she met Hu Chenhuan's gentle and tolerant eyes, she pouted and said truthfully, "I'm tired. I'm dying of exhaustion. I'm so tired after earning money to support the family for a few days. It seems that I'm more suitable to be beautiful at home. So, you have to get better quickly. I'll be relying on you to take care of me in the future." Hu Chenhuan was slightly stunned. She did not expect Su Yiyen to say that. She felt distressed and amused at the same time. Okay, I'll try my best to get better as soon as possible. I'll earn money to support the family and let you be as beautiful as a flower at home. Okay. Su Yiyen nodded and picked up some food for Hu Chenhuan. If you want to get better quickly, eat well and maintain a good mood. In a few days, I'll accompany you to the hospital for a full-body checkup to see the results. Although the auxiliary function could roughly see a person's physical condition, it was not as reassuring as having accurate data. Moreover, the key now was not him, but Hu Chenhuan, the person involved. Su Yiyen wanted to let Hu Chenhuan truly feel that he was recovering and increase his confidence. This would also be beneficial for the treatment later. Hu Chenhuan's eyes flashed slightly, and he nodded. Since his legs were declared dead by the most authoritative doctor, he had never gone to the hospital again. But if it was with Su Yiyen, he was willing to go and have a look. Su Yiyen was happy and continued to pick up food for Hu Chenhuan. Hu Chenhuan looked at the food piled up in the bowl. Her eyes flashed slightly, and she said meaningfully, "If I remember correctly, chives should be aphrodisiac, right?" Chapter 338. Su Yiyen suddenly paused in her action of picking up the food. Then she quietly withdrew her chopsticks and said with a slightly red face, "That's not the only effect. And it's called yang enhancement, not yang enhancement. There's a difference in nature." "Oh?" Hu Chenhuan raised his eyebrows and said, "Although the effect may be different, it should also nourish the kidney." "So you are in such a hurry?" After Hu Chenhuan said this, Su Yiyen's face became even redder. She glared at Hua Chenhuan angrily and put a large amount of chives into Hua Chenhuan's bowl. She said fiercely, "Eat your food. So much food can't block your mouth." Hua Chenhuan looked at her deeply and said lightly, "There's only one thing that can block my mouth." Su Yiyen bit her chopsticks and was stunned for a while before she realized the meaning of Hua Chenhuan's words. Her eyes suddenly widened and she looked at the person in front of her in disbelief. She didn't expect that such a serious person would be so shameless in front of her. The two of them stared at each other for a long time. In the end, Su Yiyen compromised first and took the initiative to kiss Hua Chenhuan. "Are you okay now? Let's eat." Hua Chenhuan looked at Su Yiyen's blushing face. The corners of his mouth rose slightly and he ate obediently. Dun Dun, who had been listless and lovesick since he came home, saw this scene. Every day, they were showing off their love in front of a poor single dog who had just been kicked out of the house by his mother-in-law and lost his wife. Didn't their consciences hurt? Dun Dun, who was hurt physically and mentally, whimpered in a low voice. He leaned on the chair and completely shut himself off. As Hua Chenhuan expected, when Hua Qihan woke up in the hospital and saw Hua Xiaofeng, he flew into a rage and smashed everything in the ward. He almost fainted from anger. It was Hua Xiaofeng's first time facing his father's thunderous rage. The glass cup smashed into his forehead, and blood flowed down his face. The hospital had no choice but to add another bed next to his father's. Hua Qihan got angry as soon as he saw him. He didn't want to be in the same ward as him at all. In the end, the hospital had no choice but to put a piece of cloth between the father and son so that they couldn't see each other. In the end, as soon as they put the cloth in place, the media leaked the news. The father and son fight in the ward. The head of the Hua Corporation is sent to the hospital because of his son. A fight broke out in the ward. The father and son of the Hua Group's leaders are both hospitalized. Father and son turned against each other in the past. Is it the distortion of human nature or the decay of morality? When Hua Qihan saw the report, the ward was almost smashed again. He couldn't wait to send Hua Xiaofeng back to his mother's womb to be reborn. Other people gave birth to a baby, but he gave birth to a son who was a debt collector. Previously, Hua Xiaofeng's family was ridiculed for breaking off their engagement. Later, there were problems with the Hua Corporation's key projects. The Hua Corporation's stock price fell to the bottom for a while. Even though Hua Qihan was in the hospital, he had to take the calls of the company's directors. He had to humbly accept the directors' dissatisfaction and cynicism. In the end, in order to appease the company's directors and stabilize the Hua Corporation's stock price, Hua Qihan had to cut off his tail to survive. He chose to donate the land where the ancient biological site was found. Of course, this donation meant that in addition to the company's heavy losses, he also had to put out a part of his private property to the company to maintain the company's normal operations. This part of the funds was enough to destroy Hua Qihan's years of hard work, not to mention the compensation for the company's other people whose interests were damaged. Chapter 339. The project Hua Xiaofeng was in charge of had a large initial investment. Donating it now was tantamount to digging a big hole for himself, and it would not be easy to fill it. Although the company's directors understood that Hua Qihan's actions were understandable, they were still angry. In particular, Hua Xiaofeng, who had caused all this, was his own son. He also complained about Hua Qihan, the person in charge of the company. The subtle atmosphere among the company's senior management also affected the employees below to a certain extent. Many people were counting on the year-end bonus to have a good year as it was approaching the end of the year. Now that the company was in trouble, the year-end bonus was most likely gone. The basic benefits that they had been looking forward to for a year were gone. This alone was enough to make these low-level employees dissatisfied with Hua Xiaofeng, the young master who came out of nowhere, and Hua Qihan, the big boss. However, they were small and weak. Even if they were dissatisfied, they did not dare to show it on the surface. However, once there was a crack in something, it was difficult to restore it to its original state. Many changes were also subtle. Of course, they did not dare to object, but it did not mean that the company's senior executives did not dare to vent their dissatisfaction. In order to stabilize the Hua Corporation, Hua Qihan returned to the company in a wheelchair on the third day of his admission to take charge of the overall situation. Several of the company's senior directors saw the wheelchair under him. Their expressions were subtle for a moment, but they quickly returned to their original state. I'm sure you guys already know about the development zone in the suburbs. Do you guys have any good ideas? We don't dare to say that we have good opinions. At the beginning, we had reminded you that it was very dangerous to let a young man who had just come out of society and had never experienced experience be in charge of such a project. Now that our words have come true, we have nothing to say. Hua Qihan's face darkened as he looked at the director who spoke. He was an old man in his 60s or 70s with white hair at the temples. He was the senior backbone of the Hua Corporation that had been founded with the old chairman. Even now, he had a certain right to speak in the company. This senior was now basically in a retired state and rarely came to the company. The last time he came to the company was for the company's quarterly summary meeting, which was when Hua Qihan handed over the project to Hua Xiaofeng. This time, Hua Qihan saw that he was dissatisfied with him and was ready to look on coldly. His heart was slightly cold, and his expression did not look good. However, he was in the wrong in this matter. Even though Hua Qihan was angry, he did not dare to lose his temper at the other party at this time. The incident this time was indeed due to the negligence of the subordinates of the young Peak. But the most important thing now is how to solve this problem. Everyone present was a sly old fox. How could they not understand that he still wanted to protect Hua Xiaofeng and wanted to find a scapegoat to take the blame for Hua Xiaofeng? They didn't expose him, but asked lightly, "It's about the company's reputation and future development. Do you already have a countermeasure in mind? I propose to give that piece of land to the Supreme Research Institute for free. This way, not only can we seize the initiative, but we can also consolidate the company's reputation to a certain extent. Take it as a free advertisement for the company." As soon as Hua Qihan said this, a director immediately chuckled and said mockingly, "Free advertising? The price of this advertisement is extraordinarily high." The atmosphere in the conference room froze in an instant, and Hua Qihan's face turned pale. In the end, it was the old director from before who became the peacemaker. Although it's expensive, we have no other choice now. Chapter 340. Everyone in the room fell silent again. The director who had previously mocked Hua Qihan snorted coldly and did not speak again. Hua Qihan could not help but breathe a sigh of relief when he saw this. He thought that this matter was over, but he did not expect the old director to say, although it was a last resort, it is also a fact that the company has suffered huge losses because of this. These losses still have to be borne by the culprit. The expression on Hua Qihan's face stiffened slightly, and an ominous premonition suddenly arose in his heart. Sure enough, the next second, he heard the old director say, "As the company's directors, we all agree that Hua Xiaofeng is the main person in charge of this incident and has an unshirkable responsibility for this matter. Therefore, we apply to remove him from the Hua Corporation and never hire him again." What? Hua Qihan's face turned pale. Being expelled from the company and never hired again meant that his son could no longer inherit the Hua Corporation and was directly kicked out of the Hua Corporation's heir list. Which company's employees would accept that their boss had been dismissed by the company? Wasn't this rushing to tell everyone that he was an idiot with no ability at all? However, if Hua Xiaofeng was kicked out, who else could the Hua Corporation in the future if he was not his only son? Did he have to hand it over to an outsider? No, in addition to Hua Xiaofeng, there was another person who also had the right to inherit the Hua Corporation, but that person, Hua Qihan, was so angry that he slammed the table hard, making a loud noise. "No, you can't do this. You can't." The old director's old, sharp, and shrewd eyes narrowed dangerously. He chuckled and said, "Young Hua, you have to understand that the fact that we did not ask him for compensation for major engineering mistakes is already the greatest tolerance we have as elders. The fact that we did not directly pull you down from the position of the company's head is also the greatest tolerance we have as elders." These words were not polite at all. To Hua Qihan, it was a blatant threat. These old directors also held a certain amount of shares in the company, but most of them did not have a large proportion of shares and could not compare to Hua Qihan's. This was why he was put in the position of the head. Once they teamed up to deliberately mess with him, or even directly sold these shares, Hua Qihan might not be able to get away with it. Their intentions were clear. Either they let Hua Xiaofeng take the responsibility and get out of the company, or they let all of them get out. Both of them had to bear the consequences of all of them leaving the company. From this, it could be seen that Hua Qihan's usual self-righteousness and this time, Hua Xiaofeng's big trouble had completely ignited the anger of these directors, making them extremely disappointed with the father and son. Hua Qihan's expression was extremely ugly, and his eyes flickered. In the end, he made a decision between himself and his son. I agree. After saying this, Hua Qihan's straight back suddenly collapsed. His whole person seemed to have suddenly aged more than 10 years, and his expression was ashen. The others didn't care what kind of mental struggle he was going through. After looking at each other, they said in a clear voice, "Since that's the case, let's vote. Those who agree to fire Hua Xiaofeng and never hire him again, raise your hand." Whoosh! 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 Everyone in the conference room raised their hands, except for Hua Qihan. A unanimous vote. In that case, immediately inform the personnel department to handle the relevant follow-up matters as soon as possible. Chapter 341. The decision to kick Hua Xiaofeng out of the Hua Corporation was made while he was still in the hospital, unaware of what had happened. By the time he found out about it from others and called Hua Qihan to confirm it, it was already too late. Hua Xiaofeng was arrogant and had considered himself the future heir of the Hua Corporation since he was a child. However, he was kicked out of the company just as he was about to succeed. For Hua Xiaofeng, such a fall was like stepping on his face and grinding it back and forth on the ground. It was more painful than killing him. Hua Xiaofeng began to scold over the phone. He scolded the company's directors, his subordinates, and even Hua Qihan. He felt that since Hua Qihan was the person in charge of the company, he had the absolute right to speak in the company. As long as he was willing to protect him, how could the directors casually kick him out of the company? Hua Qihan was already full of anger. He was angry that the company's directors did not give him face, and he was even angrier that Hua Xiaofeng failed to live up to his expectations. In the end, not only did Hua Xiaofeng not understand him, but he also blamed him. This kind of debt collector was better off not having a son. The father and son, who were originally happy and harmonious, seemed to have gradually become estranged from the moment Hua Xiaofeng took the initiative to break off the engagement. This incident was a fuse that completely ignited the relationship between the two, making it impossible for them to return to their previous, fatherly and filial son relationship. Hua Qihan had a very important purpose for donating that piece of land. As soon as he finished negotiating with the research institute, he had asked someone to release a press release to publicize this matter. He wanted to sell the selfless name of contributing to the future of mankind. Unfortunately, the passers-by did not seem to buy it. As far as I know, there is no way to continue the construction of the ancient biological site that has been excavated underground. Are you sure you didn't deliberately bribe the press release to brag about the donation? If I had known about this before seeing the scumbag couple, I might have thought that this was a good idea. Now, it seems hypocritical. Let's go. Hua Qihan thought that once the press release was released, the reviews would suddenly turn around and the company's stock would stabilize a little. He did not expect that a third of the people had the same idea. He was so angry that he almost smashed the office again. On the other hand, Hua Chenhuan kept her promise and told her about how Hua Qihan was almost fired by the company's directors. Su Yiyan listened with relish and said with a smile, "Hua Qihan's expression must have been very funny when you said that. If I was there at that time." Hua Chenhuan looked at the gloating smile on Su Yiyan's face and laughed along. "However, I really didn't expect this matter. I thought it would take a few days before he made up his mind to donate such a large piece of time." Hua Chenhuan was silent for a moment and said truthfully, "The reason why this matter has progressed so smoothly is because someone is adding fuel to the fire behind the scenes." "Who is it?" "Your brother." "My brother?" Su Yiyen looked confused and surprised. How does this matter have anything to do with my brother? Maybe he saw the video of Hu Xiaofeng and his wife looking for you on the internet. He couldn't bear to see you being bullied, so he pushed you behind your back. Su Yiyen nodded. She had to admit that this was indeed something her brother would do. However, since she already knew that he had pushed her behind her back, Su Yiyen had to call him to confirm. Su Yuxuan seemed to have been waiting for her call. As soon as the call was connected, he said, "You finally know to call me?" Chapter 342. There was a hint of jealousy in his questioning tone. However, Su Yiyen seemed to be used to his brother's occasional arrogance and coaxed him. "I've been busy recently, so I haven't been in touch with you and Mom and Dad. How have you been?" "Pretty good. It's just that there's one less person in the family, so it's a little empty." Su Yiyen was stunned, and his heart warmed. He smiled faintly and said, "Then I'll visit you with Chenhuan this weekend when I'm free." As Su Yiyen spoke, he seemed to have thought of something and added, "I'll bring you delicious food. I'm the eldest young master of the Su family. What delicious food have I not eaten? Why would I miss the food you bring back?" "Yes, yes, yes. You don't miss it. It's just that I've come up with a few new dishes recently, and I want you to try my cooking." She did not know who ate the most when she cooked at home. Su Yuxuan listened to his sister's coaxing and said awkwardly, "Since you've said so, Mom and Dad will wait at home and see if your cooking has improved after moving to the family Hua." "Okay." Su Yuxuan chatted with Su Yiyen for a while and suddenly asked, "Don't you have anything else to ask me?" "Ahem, I do have something to ask you. About the Hua Corporation, did you also?" "That's right. I bribed the media to deliberately fan the flames and blow the matter up. I also secretly found a close friend and asked the elders in his family to help put pressure on Hua Qihan. It would have been better if Su Yiyen did not mention this. Now that he mentioned it, Su Yuxuan felt wronged. Back then, when his sister was wronged in school, the first person she ran home to look for was him, her brother, with red eyes. Now, Hu Xiaofeng brought that mistress to find trouble with her. She did not even tell him about such a big matter. She really did not want her brother anymore after she had a husband. At this thought, Su Yuxuan snorted again and said thoughtfully, "Did Hu Chenhuan tell you? What does he mean? Does he want to denounce me? Do you think I shouldn't touch the Hua Corporation?" When Su Yiyen made the call, Hu Chenhuan was beside her. Although Su Yuxuan did not speak on speaker, her voice was not soft. Su Yiyen heard his accusation and subconsciously glanced at Hu Chenhuan. She saw that his expression had changed slightly, but he was still looking at her gently, as if he was not angry. She heaved a sigh of relief and helped to explain, "You misunderstood him. He didn't mean that. Actually, he was also involved in what happened to the Hua Corporation this time. He was standing up for me." After listening to Su Yiyen's explanation, Su Yuxuan was silent for a moment before he said, "At least he has some responsibility." When Su Yiyen heard her brother praising Hu Chenhuan, she also said happily, "He has always been very responsible. Brother, don't worry. He loves me the most now." Su Yuxuan was caught off guard and felt as if he had eaten an entire lemon. His whole body was sour, but he could not let this sour smell affect his sister. He could only turn his sour mood into anger and said coldly, "Hu Xiaofeng and that woman are really insatiable. They don't know what they are doing. It's good enough that you didn't go looking for trouble with them, but they actually came to slander you. If we don't teach them a lesson, they will really think that the Su family is easy to bully." Su Yuxuan had taken action because of the video, and because the two families had already become enemies because of the annulment of the engagement. Now, Hu Xiaofeng did not know the gravity of the situation. He was clearly forcing the Su family to fight to the death with him. Chapter 343. Su Yuxuan pursed his lips and looked unhappy. "I won't let this go just like that. You should also tell Hu Chenhuan to make his stance clear. The family who dared to bully you, so there's no reason for the Su family to take it lying down. I'm not asking him to kick you when you're down, but if he still has a conscience for you, he should just stand by and watch. Don't side with that family, or else I'll deal with him as well. When Hu Chenhuan heard this, she felt that if she didn't explain herself, she might be wrongly accused. She quickly stepped forward and asked Su Yiyan to give up the phone for the time being. Big brother. Su Yuxuan was caught off guard by Hu Chenhuan's voice. He froze for a moment, then his attitude quickly changed. Humph. Hu Chenhuan didn't mind his obvious difference in treatment and said softly, "Don't worry. Not long after we got married, I completely fell out with them. This time, I also got involved in the Hu Corporation's matter. Just like you said, if they dare to come looking for Yan Yan, this matter won't be over so easily. I know what I'm doing." Su Yiyan stood next to him. Her eyes curved slightly, and she quickly chimed in. "That's right, big brother. If he dares to help them, I'll be the first to disagree." Su Yuxuan listened to the two of them echo each other. The corners of his lips twitched slightly, and he said gloomily, "Why don't you agree? Divorce him right away?" Su Yiyan blinked and turned to glance at Hu Chenhuan. She seemed to have made up her mind and replied firmly, "Yeah." Hu Chenhuan's eyes flickered slightly, but she didn't say anything. When Su Yuxuan heard Su Yiyan's words, he knew that she hadn't let her feelings get to her head. He said reluctantly, "All right. With your words, big brother will feel more at ease. Don't make yourself suffer. Without him, you still have us as your family. We won't stand by and watch you get bullied." Su Yiyan's eyes curved into crescents as she softly replied, "I know." The two siblings chatted about other things before they hung up the phone after Su Yuxuan reluctantly confirmed several times that Su Yiyan would return home. Before Su Yiyan could heave a sigh of relief, she suddenly heard Hu Chenhuan's emotionless question. "Divorce? It's just a hypothesis. I know you won't do that. What if I did?" Su Yiyan was slightly taken aback. She looked straight into Hu Chenhuan's eyes and said without hesitation, "Then let's get a divorce." "Why?" "Because if you really do that, you won't be the you in my heart anymore. For the sake of a few idiots, he turned against me and my family. If I don't divorce such a husband, am I supposed to keep him for the new year?" Hu Chenhuan stared at Su Yiyan silently for a long time before she smiled and said, "You're right." "Huh. There will never be a day like that." Su Yiyan understood the meaning of her words and smiled, "Then I'll wait and see." Su Yiyan seemed to have thought of something as she said, "By the way, I have something to discuss with you." "What is it?" "I plan to agree to Yi Qiliang's proposal and teach him some of the things I have." Hu Chenhuan didn't ask her who Yi Qiliang was, nor did she ask what Yi Qiliang's so-called proposal was. She only asked in a deep voice, "Is this what you were struggling with before?" "Yes. I've said before that as long as it's something you want to do, you can do it. I'll support you unconditionally. Don't worry about the consequences. I'm here." Hu Chenhuan paused and reluctantly added, "Other family members are here too." Chapter 344. Su Yiyan could hear the awkwardness hidden in his words of concern. She almost couldn't help but laugh out loud. "My brother isn't here right now. You don't have to be so nervous." Hu Chenhuan was speechless. Su Yiyan laughed for a while and took the initiative to explain. "I agreed to his proposal because I felt that it was a good thing. Even if it would cause some trouble, the advantages would definitely outweigh the disadvantages. A portion of the audience watching her live broadcast should be patients with difficult and complicated diseases. Minor illnesses were one thing, but if possible, everyone would want to be healthy and ordinary people. There were many annoying people in the world like those brainless anti-fans who would criticize anyone who became popular, but there were more cute little angels who had good values and were kind-hearted. She couldn't just watch those who had shown her kindness fall into deep suffering because she was worried that she would be criticized, scolded, or get into trouble. She could clearly help them, but she didn't do anything. Also, Su Yiyan's face was slightly red. "Some treatments are really inconvenient for a girl like me to do. It might be better to teach some guys." Hua Chenhuan's eyes narrowed when he heard that. He was interested. For example? For example, for your illness, you need to remove the needle from the hoop jump acupoint. Su Yiyen's eyes began to wander. The hoop jump acupoint is where I asked you to take off your pants and prick it the other day. Hua Chenhuan's face darkened. He thought that Su Yiyen might take off another man's pants and prick another man's but one day. No. Su Yiyen was shocked. She looked up and saw Hua Chenhuan's face, which was as black as the bottom of a pot. She couldn't help but laugh. You're not allowed just like that? Then if I know how to asterisk. Su Yiyen's eyes glanced ambiguously at a certain important part of Hua Chenhuan's body. Even if Hua Chenhuan didn't know what acupoint she was talking about, he could roughly guess its location. His face immediately darkened. Su Yiyen was also afraid that he would lose his head in anger, so he quickly gave in and said, Okay, don't be angry. Even if you didn't say it, I definitely wouldn't do such a thing to anyone other than you. Hua Chenhuan raised her eyebrows. Did this mean that she was going to do this to him in the future? While Hua Chenhuan was nervous, she also had a little bit of expectation. Su Yiyen didn't know what he was thinking. Seeing that his face had cleared up a little, he let out a sigh of relief and said, I can't bear to watch him die and not save him, but there are many times when it's really inconvenient. Teaching these things can be considered a win-win situation. It was just that if he accepted this invitation, he would probably have less free time. However, I will try my best to coordinate with him so that he won't take up too much of our personal space. What you said just now, Do you need a live demonstration when teaching students? Huh? Su Yiyen didn't understand what Hua Chenhuan meant. If you need to, you definitely can't find anyone other than me. Su Yiyen finally understood what he meant. Her little face was as red as a cooked shrimp. Su Yiyen took a few deep breaths to calm herself down. I will ask Professor Yi to make an imitation doll in advance. It doesn't need a real person. Oh. Su Yiyen. What's with your inexplicable dejected tone? Although the imitation doll was deliberately used to prevent Su Yiyen from seeing other men, even if it was an imitation of a real person, Hua Chenhuan still felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. He confirmed again, you really don't need it? There's really no need. Chapter 345. Hua Chenhuan looked at his wife's blushing face. Although he felt a little regretful, he couldn't continue teasing her. Otherwise, if he overdid it and she got angry, he would be the unlucky one. The eye. You mentioned just now, are you going to insert it when you treat me later? Su Yiyen's body stiffened. She immediately became angry and said, so what if I am? Are you scared now? Hua Chenhuan's eyes lit up. Tonight? Su Yiyen. What's going on? Wasn't this guy afraid of needles before? Why did he suddenly change? Just as Su Yiyen really didn't know how to deal with Hua Chenhuan's pressure step by step, someone's phone suddenly rang and rescued Su Yiyen from this awkward situation. Su Yiyen's eyes lit up and she said cheerfully, you do what you need to do. I'll call Professor Yi. After she finished speaking, she didn't wait for Hua Chenhuan's reaction and ran away as if she was escaping. Hua Chenhuan looked at her back and a trace of a smile flashed across his eyes. However, after seeing the caller ID on the screen, the smile gradually disappeared and was replaced by indifference. Su Yiyen hurriedly retreated until she was a distance away from Hua Chenhuan's sight. She couldn't help but sigh in relief. She secretly lamented that men changed so much before and after marriage that she couldn't take it anymore. Su Yiyen finally calmed down and immediately contacted Yi Qiliang. Yi Qiliang was excited as soon as he received her call. Miss Su, Professor Yi, just call me Yan Yan. Okay, Yan Yan. Yi Qiliang was full of hope, but he was afraid of offending Su Yiyen. He hesitated for a moment before he probed, you suddenly called me. Is it because, I thought about it and think that what you said before is indeed feasible? So, I agree. That's great, Su Yiyen listened to the undisguised joy of this old man, who was over 50 years old, and felt somewhat uncomfortable in his heart. But I have some requests. Request? Yi Qiliang was stunned for a moment before he quickly said, tell us. As long as it's something we can do, we'll try our best to do it for you. First of all, my free time is limited. I can only attend about 2 classes a week in the morning or in the afternoon, and most of my classes will be on weekends. That's not a problem. Yi Qiliang readily agreed. Our school usually has classes on the weekends. As long as you're willing to come, we'll definitely arrange it according to your free time. We won't make things difficult for you. From Yi Qiliang's point of view, Su Yiyen was willing to sacrifice the weekend to teach them, so how could they dare to have any objections? Then there's the problem of the candidates. I hope that your school can help me screen some students with good character who are really interested in traditional Chinese medicine in advance. Grades are not the most important thing. Compared to grades, I care more about character. I don't want students who come to learn this just to seek novelty and stand out from the crowd. If that's the case, I think they won't be able to learn anything. Yi Qiliang's thoughts coincided with Su Yiyen's. Traditional Chinese medicine was already unpopular and rare. If a group of students who were not interested in it and came here just to waste their time and graduate to learn this, Yi Qiliang felt that it was a waste of resources. Don't worry about this. Our school will screen in advance students who really like this subject, who are hardworking and have good character, and who are willing to learn this knowledge. We don't ask for quantity, but quality. Chapter 346. This promise, which sounded like a slogan, almost made Su Yiyen laugh. That's good. Lastly, and most importantly, I hope that these students will be responsible for their own actions in the future, whether they learn well or not. If they truly gain my recognition, they won't easily use these things on real people before they graduate. Can you do that? Yi Qiliang was stunned, then he smiled and said, that's for sure. Practicing medicine and saving people is a matter of life and death. If you don't learn well, you won't be helping people, you'll be harming them. Su Yiyen was greatly relieved to see that he was so reasonable. Then I'll have to trouble you. It's no trouble at all. Then it's settled. I'll go and discuss with the principal about the class schedule. Teacher Su, when are you free on the weekends? Any time is fine. I'm free on the weekends except for noon and evening. That's fine. Yi Qiliang seemed to have thought of something as he spoke. He coughed lightly and asked in embarrassment, can the school's teachers, such as me, also attend the class? Su Yiyen was stunned for a moment, then smiled awkwardly. Of course you can, but I'm not a real teacher after all. In front of you. I'll be displaying my slight skill in front of an expert. I might make a fool of myself. It's fine, it's fine. Everyone has their first time. We'll just be there to listen. Just treat us as those unimportant murals in the background. Don't feel too pressured. Okay. The two of them quickly settled on the matters to take note of. Yi Qiliang couldn't wait to find the principal to make the follow-up class schedule. The matter that had been hanging in his mind all this time was finally resolved. Su Yiyen felt a lot more relaxed. He walked around downstairs, but in the end, he still felt uneasy, so he turned around and went upstairs. As soon as he reached the second floor, he saw Hua Chenhuan sitting on the balcony, looking at the back garden below through the transparent glass window. Su Yiyen walked behind him, put his hand on his shoulder, and asked in a low voice, "What are you looking at?" "Nothing." "Have you explained it clearly to Yi Qiliang?" "Yeah, who was looking for you just now?" Hua Chenhuan was silent for a few seconds and said truthfully, "A few old directors of the Hua Corporation." "The old director of the Hua Corporation?" Su Yiyen was surprised. "Why are they looking for you?" Hua Xiaofeng was kicked out of the Hua Corporation in such a humiliating way. The company will never accept such a disgraced person as the successor of the Hua Corporation. Su Yiyen had a flash of inspiration when she heard this. "If they're looking for you now, could it be that they want you to return to the Hua Corporation?" "Yes. But isn't Hua Qihan still here? Aren't they afraid that he'll? Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed with a trace of sarcasm. Maybe they finally realized that even if the company was handed over to a disabled person, it would still be better than handing it over to a mediocre person who has no ability and will drag them down. Before his accident, these people had wanted to support him. However, after his accident and his legs were disabled, these people unconditionally turned to Hua Qihan's side and never mentioned their initial optimism for him. Now that Hua Qihan and his son had caused such a big trouble and hurt the interests of these people did not hesitate to abandon Hua Qihan and his son and turn to him to show goodwill. The fickleness of human nature was terrible and cold. Su Yiyen frowned when she heard what he said. She was distressed and angry. You'll get better soon. When the time comes, you'll definitely give everyone a shock and scare them to death. Humph. Chapter 347. Hua Chenhuan was amused by Su Yiyen's angry words, and a warm current flowed through his heart. To put it nicely, these people are assessing the situation. To put it bluntly, they are fence-sitters. They are not reliable at all. I know. Since you know, why are you still with them? The more Su Yiyen thought about it, the angrier he became. When he thought of how much gossip and ridicule Hua Chenhuan had endured over the years, he wanted to beat all of them up. Different people have different uses. People like them, when necessary. I won't feel bad even if I push them out. Su Yiyen frowned and still felt that it was a little dangerous. But people like them are too unstable. That's exactly what I want. I don't need to pretend to be a snake with people who are really stable. People have weaknesses when they have desires. Don't worry, I know what to do. Hua Chenhuan didn't want to be entangled with Su Yiyen on this topic, so he changed the subject. You just said that I'll get better soon. Su Yiyen didn't understand what he meant at first and said subconsciously, as long as the treatment goes well, you'll get better soon. Trust me. Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed slightly and he smiled faintly. Of course I trust you. But, in order to make me get better quickly, are you really not going to consider giving me a few injections tonight? Su Yiyen was confused. Why did the topic go around in such a big circle and come back to the original point? Also, weren't you afraid of needles before? Why are you so eager to ask for injections now? After all this time, are you a masochist? The matter with the several old directors of the Hua group was eventually left unsettled. The reason was that Su Yiyen was a little annoyed by Hua Chenhuan's pressuring step by step, and felt that he should urgently study to deal with someone's evolving thick-skinned face. The family Hua incident started with Hua Xiaofeng being scolded as a scumbag. Hua Qihan cut off his tail to survive and suffered heavy losses. Not only did Su Yiyen earn a wave of sympathy, but he also gained some other subtle benefits. This is a summary of the newcomers who want to transfer to our company. A newcomer who transferred to our company? Su Yiyen took the thick stack of personal information and was a little confused. Why are there so many? Xia Junsheng glanced at her meaningfully. That's all. But this doesn't make sense. Although it's usually job-hopping season after the new year, isn't this a little too much? It's all thanks to you. My contribution? What did I do? Xia Junsheng looked at Su Yiyen's frightened expression and couldn't help but laugh. Did you forget that the video of you tearing apart the scumbag who broke off his engagement and the White Lotus mistress was on the hot topic list? Su Yiyen blinked and found it a little funny. They came here because of this? Because of my handsome and heroic appearance when I tore the dregs with my bare hands? That's not it. They were attracted by the domineering integrity of you defending your own artist. Su Yiyen choked. Is that true? Have you forgotten how you dissed that woman back then? Su Yiyen thought about it carefully. It seemed that such a thing had really happened. So, they think that you're really a good boss because you can still stand up for your own artist when you're being pestered by those two weirdos. You're not stingy with your praise for outstanding artists. Are you sure they really think so and not think that I'm so young and easier to get along with than those old foxes? Xia Junsheng was speechless. Chapter 348. Ahem, no matter what, these people did come to us. Look. Su Yiyen flipped through the information under her hand. Just because they came, it doesn't mean that we have to accept them. Xia Junsheng was slightly stunned. You mean, first, get someone to verify the character of these people. They aren't fake characters on the screen, but real characters and temperaments. In addition, investigate the reason why they left their original company. Okay. Apart from this, is there anything else we need to pay attention to? For example, ability, fame, traffic, and so on. In business, although Xia Junxing had a rough understanding of Su Yiyen's temperament during this period of time, they were still an entertainment company, so it was not good to not take these into consideration. Su Yiyen muttered, character is the most important. I don't want the company to attract troublemakers and shit stirrers just because of fame and traffic. Just look at Hu Xiaofeng. No matter how famous and how much traffic one had, if one's character was not good, they would sooner or later fail. When that time came, don't expect them to make a profit. It would be good enough if they didn't clean up their mess. Of course, I'm not saying that these are not important. Under the premise that their character is good, we can give priority to artists who are capable, hardworking, and motivated. Of course, if these artists have their own topics and traffic, that would be even better. After Su Yiyen mentioned it, the so-called fame and traffic became the focus of attention. Xia Junxing felt that it was unexpected but reasonable. He frowned and said nothing in the end. Su Yuxuan had said before that this company was a gift to his sister. If it made a profit, it would be his sister's, and if it made a loss, it would be his. In addition, the company's rules can be changed appropriately. Those who are capable and down-to-earth, and talented in all aspects can be nurtured. Those who are not talented but down-to-earth can work behind the scenes. Although it is a little old-fashioned to teach according to the individual's ability, it is not without reason. In my company, opportunities can be given to anyone. It just depends on whether you can grasp them. Xia Junxing's face darkened. He knew that Su Yiyen was talking about the company's internal strife and unspoken rules. Speaking of this, that Ren, hearing Su Yiyen ask about this person, Xia Junxing's eyes quickly turned cold. Ren Miaoqiong. Oh, right, how's the matter with Ren Miaoqiong coming along? She's been shelved. Her manager has also left. The other thing is that director. You don't want to scram? Su Yiyen narrowed her eyes, and the aura around her was 50 to 60% similar to Hu Chenhuan's when she was angry. That day, Hu Xiaofeng and Wen Jingping openly came to Eastern City to block her. The more Su Yiyen thought about it, the more she felt that something was wrong. Although this incident was part of the original plot in the original novel and had happened in her previous life, the original novel only briefly mentioned the origin of this incident. It said that the two of them had accidentally heard from others that one of the investors of the variety show, Dong Cheng, was her private company. Who was this person? When this incident happened, she had just taken over Dong Cheng. It was not strange for Hu Xiaofeng and Wen Jingping to hear that Dong Cheng was her family's business. Perhaps it was because this person knew that the nominal boss of Dong Cheng had changed hands and revealed it. Su Yiyen felt that this informant was very likely to be an internal staff of her company. For this reason, Su Yiyen asked Xia Junxing to secretly investigate this matter. In the end, they really found out the problem. Chapter 349. The person who had deliberately leaked the matter was a female artist who had just been signed by Dongqing City. This female artist wasn't stupid. In order to prevent others from investigating her, she deliberately leaked the matter to a big mouth in the production team, who then spread the news indiscriminately. Where there were people, there would be gossip. It was very easy to form gossip, but it wasn't easy to investigate. Thanks to this big mouth, the news of Dongqing City's change of ownership of Su Yiyen only reached Wen Jingping's ears after 5 or 6 rounds. It took Xia Junxing some effort to investigate. Fortunately, if he didn't want others to know, he shouldn't have done it in the first place. After a few twists and turns, he finally found the source. When Su Yiyen saw this female artist, she was a little surprised. Didn't the company only send 4 female artists to this show? Where did this woman come from? At that time, Xia Junxing glanced at her with a subtle expression and said awkwardly, "This female artist was groomed by Xiao Dong. Xiao Dong is the nephew of our company's chairman Xiao." Su Yiyan instantly understood. She got in through connections? Yes. How are her results? She was eliminated from the top 10. Her ability isn't particularly good, but her looks, Su Yiyan instantly understood again. Canary might not be good in other aspects, but her looks had to pass. Does Chairman Xiao have a lot of power in the company? Has he done this before? He does have a certain amount of authority. His nephew likes to use his connections to intimidate others. Previously, he often snatched artists under other managers in the company. I warned him several times, but he refused to change. After all, he was only helping Su Yuxuan manage the company. Logically speaking, Chairman Xiao had more power than him. As long as the two of them didn't go overboard, Xia Junxing couldn't clash with them head-on. However, he didn't expect that these two idiots would really treat Dongqing City as their own after acting like tyrants in the company all these years. They even dared to touch the new big boss. But reality proved that they were that bold. If they let Wen Jingping and Hua Xiaofeng cause a ruckus and succeed, Su Yiyan would lose face and prestige in the company. It would be easier for the old directors to manipulate her. A few girls who had just started their careers would also be accused of going in through the back door and suffer a certain amount of pressure from public opinion. Their reputation and image would also be negatively affected. At that time, it would be much easier for Ren Miaoqiong, who had roughly the same star path as them, to snatch resources from them. Su Yiyan hated Little B** Cheese who schemed behind their backs the most. He immediately got someone to freeze this woman and fire Xiao Dong. Su Yiyan was a newly appointed official, and this action was undoubtedly a show of strength to the company's directors. Chairman Xiao had yet to see the situation clearly. As soon as his nephew was fired, he made a scene in front of Xia Junxing and even wanted to make a scene in front of Su Yiyan. He really didn't want to leave and even made a scene in the company. It wasn't until I handed those things over to him that his expression changed and he left angrily. This uncle and nephew weren't good people to begin with. Over the years, they had relied on their seniority in the company and their background to do many dirty things. Just because they didn't investigate before didn't mean that they didn't know about it. Now that they did, they found out that they had fired many people. He's angry. He's done so many bad things, but I'm not angry yet. Why is he angry? Su Yiyan sneered. Get someone to keep an eye on him. If he dares to play any tricks, send him and his nephew to jail. Take it as getting rid of evil for the people. Chapter 350. Xia Junxing agreed verbally, but he secretly sighed in his heart, I'm afraid I won't have this opportunity. He had already sent an identical copy of the information he had found to Su Yiyan before sending it to Su Yuxuan. Su Yiyan was kind and did not kill him. However, Su Yuxuan's sister Khan, who treated his sister as his life, would not let him off easily. It would be difficult for him to play any tricks again. By the way, pay attention to this artist. Xia Junxing pulled out a personal resume from the top of the stack of information. Luo Weibing? Su Yiyan frowned and pondered. He inexplicably felt that the name was a bit familiar. Yes, the youngest Double Gold Award winner so far, Luo Weibing. Double Gold Award winner? Su Yiyan was surprised. He also jumped into our company? Because of me? To be precise, Ning Chirue led him here. Su Yiyan's eyes narrowed slightly. What does this have to do with Ning Chirue? Yi Qiliang was one thing, but now he had attracted a Double Gold Award winner. Did that guy have a physique that attracted bees and butterflies? Ning Chirue, who was not used to staying in the hospital, was taken home early after he was exposed to good food and drink. His complexion did not change at all and he even gained some weight. Achoo. Ahem, didn't you ask him to post a recent situation that day to show that he was not frozen, but was being treated? After that, he discussed with the company's publicity department and released a statement while you were being pushed to the hot topic list by Jing Qiuying's fans because of that video. In this statement, Ning Qiurui confessed that he was seriously ill and needed treatment for a period of time before he could return to the entertainment industry. He also emphasized the company's warm company. After knowing that he was ill, not only did they not give up on him, but they were also very enthusiastic to help him find the best doctor to treat him. Now that his condition had stabilized and was slowly improving, he would be able to meet his fans again in a few months, so they did not have to worry too much. In order to increase the authenticity of his statement, Ning Qiurui also uploaded a few selfies and medical records so that his fans could see that his health was improving. As soon as this statement came out, Ning Qiurui's fans, who were originally full of hostility, were dumbfounded. On one hand, they felt sorry for their idol's illness, and on the other, they felt ashamed for their previous indiscriminate cursing of the agency. After the company reposted his statement, it attracted a lot of fans. Did you bring Luo Weibing along? Yes. Luo Weibing signed a 6-year contract with his original agency, which will expire at the end of next month. With his current fame and status, the company is naturally unwilling to let him go. It is said that half a year ago, they have been talking to him about renewing the contract, but he has not relented. Why is that? Does that agency not treat him well? It's neither good nor bad. The main reason why he didn't continue is probably because of his younger sister. Younger sister? Yes, Luo Weibing has a younger sister. She is 12 years old this year. It is said that she has some heart problems and has not been in good health. Since last year, Luo Weibing consciously reduced his workload to accompany his sick sister. His agency was a little dissatisfied, and because of this, they left him. They have not been able to renew the contract with Luo Weibing. Luo Weibing, double gold award-winning actor, younger sister, heart disease. She was wondering why this name was so familiar. Wasn't this guy the sucker that Wen Jingping hooked up with shortly after entering the entertainment industry? Chapter 351. Luo Weibing was a sucker. To be precise, in the original work, except for Hua Xiaofeng, who won the beauty, these spare men were basically suckers. Including Ning Qiurui, who had gone astray and escaped from the sea of bitterness. Poor lost little cutie Ning, achoo. Who is talking about me again? But Luo Weibing was more tragic than other supporting men. He was born in an ordinary working family. His father went out to work and unfortunately died. His mother was too sad and died after falling ill, leaving him and his only sister to depend on each other. At that time, he was still underage and his sister was young. The person in charge of this area wanted to find a temporary guardian for these two poor children. But the relatives who had a good relationship with their family in the past all changed their faces when they saw that his parents were gone. They treated the two of them as burdens and kicked them around. Luo Weibing protected his sister and tasted the fickleness of human nature at a young age. In order to support his sister, he dropped out of school to work after graduating from junior high school. Later, he met a talent scout in a bar and was brought into the entertainment circle. He had no background and was not even from a professional school. With his tenacity, he became the best actor in a few years. Moreover, he became the best actor with double gold awards. The effort he put in could be seen. However, just as the two siblings' days were getting better and they were looking forward to the future, Luo Weibing's sister was suddenly found to have a heart attack. Even if a lot of money was spent on treatment, the condition was still deteriorating. In the original work, Wen Jingping met Luo Weibing's sister when she went to the hospital with Hua Xiaofeng and accidentally ate shrimp allergies. Wen Jingping immediately saw that the watch on Luo Weibing's sister's hand was expensive. She thought that this child was from a rich family, so she wanted to make friends with her. Luo Weibing's sister was only 11 or 12 years old at that time. She had been protected by Luo Weibing and was very simple. Wen Jingping quickly gained her trust and relied on her to make friends with Luo Weibing. Luo Weibing saw that his sister liked this young lady so much. He took Wen Jingping to several crews and successfully made Wen Jingping popular. It could be said that Wen Jingping could quickly gain a foothold in the entertainment circle because of Luo Weibing. It was a pity that Luo Weibing didn't expect that his kindness would become a death sentence for him and his sister. After Wen Jingping quickly became popular, because she was brought out by Luo Weibing, the agency company to which Wen Jingping belonged asked Wen Jingping to take Luo Weibing to hype up the couple to help her become popular. Naturally, this matter could not be hidden from Hu Xiaofeng. His girlfriend was flirting with another man on the screen. How could a straight man like him bear to be cuckolded? In the original novel, Hu Xiaofeng had never experienced the embarrassing situation of being chased out of the Hu Corporation. It was difficult for him to be the legitimate heir of the Hu family, but how difficult could it be to destroy someone? Because of jealousy, Hu Xiaofeng found Luo Weibing's relatives and bribed several actresses who had worked with Luo Weibing. He asked them to fabricate lies and run to the media to cry and make trouble. In just a few days, Luo Weibing was caught in a series of scandals, such as ungrateful, breaking the contract, and sleeping with actresses in the same crew. From a double gold movie king with good reputation, he became a rat crossing the street. However, Wen Jingping only called him and comforted him softly on the phone. She refused to say anything in public, and even her eyes turned red when the media asked about Luo Weibing. Chapter 352. The explanation given in the original novel was that she didn't know how to help Luo Weibing and was so anxious that her eyes turned red. The media mistakenly thought that she had been harassed by Luo Weibing like those actresses, so her eyes turned red as soon as she heard his name. Her fans also followed up with a bunch of photos and videos of her and Luo Weibing appearing in public and edited them to prove that she was a forced victim. When this report came out, not only was Wen Jingping not affected by Luo Weibing's negative news, but she also earned a wave of sympathy from passers-by. Were the facts really as written in the original novel? All of this was Wen Jingping's good intentions and bad things? Did she have no idea what Hu Xiaofeng did? Not necessarily. It was human nature not to publicly support Luo Weibing on the internet, but if the media deliberately distorted the facts and treated her as a victim. Wen Jingping couldn't restrain the attention of the media, but she could at least restrain her own fans, right? The fans were so organized to declare that she was a victim, so there must be a lot of people behind the scenes. Poor Luo Weibing was used and sucked dry. He was stepped on and became a stepping stone for others. Even his sister was suddenly unemployed because of him and even violated many advertising contracts. He owed a lot of money, so she couldn't continue her treatment and died not long after. Just because of a moment of kindness, his career was ruined, his reputation was ruined, and his only sister was dead. If he wasn't a fool, what was he? Yayan. Xia Juansheng's low voice successfully pulled Su Yiyan's attention back. He chose our company. Is it related to his sister? I heard from Ning Qirui's agent that Luo Weibing contacted him after seeing Ning Qirui's physical test reports. He said that he wanted to visit Ning Qirui in person. After Ning Qirui knew about it, he agreed to visit him. After seeing Ning Qirui with his own eyes and confirming that what he posted online was true, he asked him to introduce him to his attending doctor. Attending doctor? Su Yiyan laughed. When did she become Ning Qirui's attending doctor? During this period, although she went to poke him once every few days, the Ning family specially hired another family doctor to help with the follow-up care and recovery work. The fact that Ning Qirui could eat as much as he did now was not all thanks to her alone. Luo Weibing seems to have shown Ning Qirui's medical records to other doctors. They all said that it was a miracle that he could recover so quickly. So he thinks that the person who can cure Ning Qirui must have some skills? Yeah. What did Ning Qirui say to him? He said. Xia Junsheng rubbed his nose and found it a little funny. He said that this is a special benefit for employees of the company and that he can't reveal it to outsiders. Su Yiyan was silent for a while before she asked faintly, "Don't you think that the employees nowadays are very greedy?" Xia Junsheng looked at her blankly. He didn't quite understand what she meant. As a boss, not only do I have to care about their future career, but I also have to be responsible for their health. Do you think it's easy for me? Xia Junsheng, cough. Xia Junxing suppressed the unconsciously raised corners of his mouth and asked in a low voice, "Then Luo Weibing, let's arrange a time for a meeting. If he's really a talent, it's okay to take him in." She always had some subtle sympathy for those who were miserably harmed by Wen Jingping, especially the innocent child, who was still so young. Chapter 353. Yi Qiliang quickly sent a message back. For the time being, Su Yiyan would be teaching them on Saturday mornings and Sunday afternoons. Now that the schedule was settled, the only problem left was the remuneration. Even if the teachers were interns, they would still receive a salary or even a subsidy. For someone like Su Yiyan, who was specially invited, she could not be treated as a temporary teacher. Yi Qiliang even felt that even if he paid Su Yiyan based on his standards, it would not be worth 1/1,000,000th of the knowledge she would teach the students. Su Yiyan seemed to see his dilemma, so she took the initiative to say, "In terms of remuneration, you can just compare it to the substitute teachers in your school." "How can that be?" "There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not a serious teacher, and I don't plan to be a teacher for a long time." When Yi Qiliang asked her if teachers like him could also sit in on the class, Su Yiyan thought about it. After all, she was not a serious teacher. She definitely did not have the experience of teaching and educating people. After she taught this group of people, they would be able to personally teach the basic knowledge to others. "Moreover, you've already helped me a lot by helping me get that special medical license." Su Yiyan's medical practice was different from other medical systems. She could not get a normal medical license. It was Yi Qiliang who used his connections to help her get a special medical license. Yi Qiliang still felt a little guilty when he heard her say that. Su Yiyan also noticed this and smiled faintly. "You don't have to feel burdened. I agreed to teach these things because if these things are really in my hands and I can't teach them to others, they will be lost again in 100 years, just like many things before. It's a good thing that people are willing to learn, but what they learn in the end depends on them." "Of course. By the way, I have to accompany my husband home this week. This class will start next week. It just so happens that you have time to make arrangements for the students." Okay. Su Yiyan had said in advance that she would be bringing Hua Chenhuan home, so the whole family woke up early in the morning to wait. Qing Xiuqin had been pacing around the kitchen door since early in the morning. Together with Qin Shueru, he watched Aunt Li cook Su Yiyan's favorite dishes. Mr. Su looked at his wife who was standing at the entrance of the kitchen and frowned. So what if she's back? Isn't it natural for her to go back to her own home? With such a big fuss, the people outside might think that she won't come back after getting married. Su Yuxuan also chimed in sourly, "That's right. You should have just said it. Why are you still blocking the door? You can't even help. Aren't you just adding to the trouble?" As soon as he finished speaking, Qing Xiuqin looked over and snorted coldly, "Don't think that I didn't hear you. Who was the one who said that I was so excited that I couldn't sleep in the middle of the night and almost fell down the stairs when I woke up to go to the bathroom?" Cough, cough, cough. Su Yuxuan coughed guiltily and turned his face away. Mr. Su instantly looked at him with disdain. This kid was still too inexperienced. How could he drop the ball at such a crucial time? Qing Xiuqin sneered when he saw this. "What are you looking at? You're the same. You're holding the newspaper upside down. Do you think that I'm short-sighted and can't tell?" Mr. Su, who had been silently looking down. Chapter 354. The Su family was busy preparing for the arrival of Su Yiyan and the new son-in-law. Hua Chenhuan, on the other hand, was inexplicably nervous after getting out of the car. "What's wrong?" Su Yiyan held Hua Chenhuan's hand. Feeling the sweat on her palm, he couldn't help but be surprised. "Nervous?" "Yes. It's not the first time you've seen them. Why are you still so nervous?" "I didn't see you this nervous when we came here before." "It's different." Su Yiyan raised his eyebrows. "How is it different?" "Previously, he was just my fiancé. Now, he's my husband. With a different identity, her state of mind was naturally different when facing these people. Then you don't have to be nervous. We're a real family now. They won't make things difficult for you. Su Yiyen could actually understand Hua Chenhuan's feelings. Before they got married, her family wasn't technically his family. Now that they were married, her family was Hua Chenhuan's family. After her parents passed away, Hua Chenhuan actually didn't have a real family anymore. To have a family again, and a family of elders at that, Hua Chenhuan needed a buffer. With me and Dun Dun here, we'll protect you. As Su Yiyen spoke, he picked up Dun Dun, who had just gotten out of the car and was about to rush home, and stuffed it into Hua Chenhuan's arms. Dun Dun, who was caught off guard by the back of its neck, was confused. What are you doing? You can talk about things, but you can't throw me around like an object. I have a temper too. Su Yiyen's comforting seemed to have some effect. Hua Chenhuan seemed to have calmed down a lot. Of course, it was only on the surface. The two people and the dog had just walked into the courtyard. Qing Shuqin's people, who saw them from afar, all fell silent. The atmosphere in the room suddenly became subtle. Even Dun Dun, who was in Hua Chenhuan's arms, subconsciously widened his eyes filled with confusion. In the end, Su Yiyen was the first to break the silence. She said helplessly, "Dad, Mom, why are you standing there like idiots? I've only been away for a few days, and you can't recognize me?" Only then did they wake up from their dream. Qing Shuqin snorted coldly. "I think you're the one who forgot about us. You've been married for so long, but you don't even know to call home and go home to take a look. You really forget your mother when you have a husband." Mr. Su hurriedly chimed in, "She also forgot about Dad." Su Yiyen, Qing Shuqin. Su Yiyen was stunned for a moment. She took the initiative to step forward and intimately held Qing Shuqin's hand. She couldn't help but laugh. "I've been too busy recently, haven't I?" "Busy? What busy?" "You." Qing Shuqin suddenly remembered that Su Yiyen still had a company and a restaurant. He suddenly felt a little distressed. "If I had known that you wanted to open a restaurant, I wouldn't have given you that entertainment company." "How can you not be busy now that you've been running back and forth between the two places? Look, you've lost so much weight in just a few days." Before Su Yiyen could say anything, Hua Chenhuan followed up and said, "It's my fault. I didn't take good care of her." Hua Chenhuan's straightforward apology made Qing Shuqin choke. Su Yiyen was worried that the atmosphere would become cold again. She hurriedly said, "Actually, it's not that bad. I was busy before because the restaurant had just opened, and everything wasn't on the right track. I also just took over the company, so it was inevitable that there were more things to do. Now that most of these problems have been solved, and the new restaurant is gradually getting on the right track, I don't need to be there to help anymore. It saved me a lot of trouble, and I'm not as busy as before." Chapter 355. It's good that you know what you're doing. Dad and Mom don't expect you to have a big career or earn a lot of money. We just want you to be safe and happy. Don't tire yourself out. Our two families can't afford to raise you alone, right? Qing Shuqin originally wanted to say, "our family," but when he thought about how Su Yiyen was already married and could be considered part of the family Hua, he changed it to two families. "I know." Su Yiyen immediately noticed the pause and complained with a smile, "He said it, and you said it too. I've been hearing these words for the past few days." When he heard Su Yiyen say that Hua Chenhuan also cared about her health and didn't want her to be too tired, Qing Shuqin's expression became much better. He snorted coldly and said, "You're not happy that we care about you? We've spoiled you too much." All right. Yen Yen specially brought Chenhuan over for dinner. "We'll talk about these things later. Let's eat first." Qin Shueru saw that they were almost done talking, so she quickly went up to smooth things over. When Su Yiyen heard her speak, she quickly went over and said with a smile, "Auntie, how have you been feeling recently? Have you eaten the medicinal cuisine I asked the medicinal cuisine restaurant to send you on time? The baby in Chinshuaru's stomach was already more than 3 months old. Her stomach wasn't very obvious yet, but there were obvious symptoms of morning sickness. Chinshuaru held Su Yiyen's hand and smiled slightly. Yes, yes. A few days ago, my stomach was very nauseous. Thanks to the medicinal cuisine your restaurant sent over, I was able to eat some of it. I'm much better now. Chinshuaru pulled Su Yiyen to sit at the dining table. Father Su and the others also sat down. Qingshuqin took the opportunity to run into the small kitchen and urged them to serve the dishes that were prepared first. Hua Chenhuan looked at Su Yiyen's harmonious appearance with her family and smiled slightly. She also turned her wheelchair and sat beside her. Although Su Yiyen wasn't at home during this period, she sent them a lot of rare ingredients one after another. Aunt Li learned from Su Yiyen for a while in the early days. Later, she found Su Yiyen's live broadcast room to practice a few times. Although the dishes weren't as good as Su Yiyen's, they were much better than before. As a result, the Su and the others would come home on time to eat unless they really had something urgent and had to work. Considering that there were more people at home today, Aunt Li not only made a lot of dishes, but also a lot of different flavors. However, most of them were pickled vegetables and spicy dishes. Su Yiyen was sitting next to Chinshuaru. She could not help but laugh when she saw Chinshuaru's chopsticks reaching for the sour dishes. People say that sour children are born while spicy daughters are born. Auntie's baby is most likely going to be a chubby boy. Qingshuqin heard her and laughed. I think so too. Xiao Ru likes to eat sour food recently. It must be a fat boy. Chinshuaru blushed slightly and smiled. She didn't say anything. Did Auntie and Uncle discuss whether you like a boy or a girl? Chinshuaru was a little embarrassed. She smiled and said, Your uncle said that a boy or a girl is good. What about you? Do you like a boy or a girl? Chinshuaru was silent for a moment and said softly, I also think that a boy or a girl isn't important. It's good either way. For her, who might not have a child of her own in this lifetime, having this child was already a great blessing. Why would she care about the boy or girl? Thinking of this, Chinshuaru turned to look at Su Yiyen and smiled faintly. But if I really have to choose one, I might want a daughter as obedient and sensible as Yan Yan. Chapter 356. When Chinshuaru said this, everyone present was stunned. Unexpectedly, the first to break the silence was Su Yuanyuan's father. He raised his head and looked at his son, then looked at his precious daughter. He nodded solemnly and said, Yes, girls are good. Su Yuxuan, who was shot even though he was lying down. Wait, if you want to talk about your daughter, then talk about your daughter. Why are you looking at me? Don't think I didn't see the disdain in your eyes. When Qingshuqin heard Su Yuxuan's father's words, he also nodded and said, Girls are better. You can give her pretty dresses, braid her hair, and take her shopping. Qingshuqin sighed and changed his tone. Yan Yan has always been a considerate little girl. She's obedient and sensible. Her father and I never worry about her. She's not like a certain bastard. He was born like a frisky monkey, crying all day long. He was only 5 or 6 years old, but he was already jumping up and down, causing trouble for me everywhere. His father and I were so angry that we wanted to kick him out of the house a few times. I'd rather have a wooden club than him. The drumstick that Su Yuxuan picked up with great difficulty fell into his bowl with a plop sound. He looked like he had nothing to live for. As expected, he was adopted. Although he was a little annoying when he was young, wasn't that because he was young and immature? Who didn't have a Chinibu period? It was too much to bring up old scores. Pfft. Su Yiyen was amused by her brother's hopeless expression. Suddenly, her hand was held. She was stunned. She turned her head and met Hua Chenhuan's smiling eyes. Su Yiyen's lips curled up. She couldn't be bothered to laugh at her brother anymore. She picked up the serving chopsticks and put some food in Hua Chenhuan's bowl. Aunt Li's cooking is pretty good. She made a lot of your favorite spicy dishes today. Eat more. Okay. Su Yiyan's words seemed to have accidentally poked Su Yuxuan and the others' sore spot. Their expressions instantly changed and they said awkwardly, "It's not specially made for you. We like it too." His words sounded like he was trying to hide 300 tails. Hua Chenhuan originally thought that Su Yiyan's words were just to comfort her. Now that she heard Su Yuxuan's words, she was a little uncertain. Could it be that these dishes were specially made for him? The atmosphere at the table suddenly became subtle. Qing Shuqin was not as awkward as the father and son. He coughed lightly and took the initiative to pick up a crayfish for Hua Chenhuan. "Now that you're married to Yan Yan, our home is your home. Don't be too restrained and eat more." Hua Chenhuan looked at the prawns in her bowl and suddenly understood the meaning of Su Yiyan's words before entering the house. In fact, he was not the only one. Qing Shuqin and the others were also trying their best to adapt to the addition of another family member. They might be arrogant and clumsy, but they were really trying to accept him and care for him in their unique way. With this thought, Hua Chenhuan picked up the crayfish with her chopsticks. Her eyes were filled with gentleness and warmth. "Father Su, humph. My wife is putting food in my son-in-law's bowl, but she's not putting food in my bowl. Su Yuxuan, humph. Even the latecomer has people putting food in his bowl, but no one cares about me. Who is her biological son?" Su Yiyan saw the dissatisfaction in the two's eyes. Her eyebrows slightly curved, and she hurriedly put some food in each of their bowls. "Dad, brother, you guys should eat more too." The father and son were stunned. They looked at the food in their bowls and instantly beamed with joy. They happily ate the food. How could they still remember their dissatisfaction from being ignored? Chapter 357. Qing Shuqin looked at the father and son who were bought over by a few chopsticks of food. He was angry and amused at the same time. He cursed in his heart, useless. During the meal, other than the occasional fight for favor, there was no other trouble. Moreover, because Hua Chenhuan deliberately avoided her, she became the most favored person at the dinner table. As a result, the other two men who were frequently ignored were full of resentment. However, it was also because of this that the subtle estrangement between them and Hua Chenhuan dissipated a lot. Hua Chenhuan quite liked the atmosphere in the Su family. There was a sense of liveliness amidst the noise, unlike the family Hua, which was lifeless. Even eating a meal felt like torture. After lunch, the elders impatiently pulled the two of them aside and questioned them in detail about their married life. Hua Chenhuan cooperated and said whatever was on her mind. Su Yiyan was a little embarrassed. She gulped down water and did not say anything. She only nodded and shook her head when asked. After enduring the elders' bombardment with great difficulty, Su Yiyan hurriedly took Hua Chenhuan and wanted to escape. However, she was stopped by Qin Shueru. "Yan Yan, the baby is already more than 3 months old. You want to go back?" Qin Shueru nodded. Qing Juanhao and old Master Cheng had asked her to stay when they went back. On one hand, they were worried that it was not safe for her to run around when she was just pregnant. On the other hand, there were some things in the Qing family that had not been resolved. It was not peaceful. She was afraid that she would not be able to take care of the baby if she went back. On the other hand, they hoped that she would stay. Su Yiyan could help her recuperate more so that she would suffer less when she gave birth to the baby. Now that the Qing family had basically stabilized, her baby was already more than 3 months old. The checkup showed that everything was fine. Although everyone in the Su family treated her well, it was not her own family. Moreover, the person she missed the most was not here. Qin Shueru could not help but feel a little. Su Yiyan naturally understood this. Other than wanting to see her family, she also wanted to see how Qin Shueru was doing. Since there were no problems, she could indeed go back. After all, they were not what she needed the most at this time. Okay. I've seen the test report. The baby is fine. There's nothing wrong with your body. If you want to go back, tell uncle first and let him arrange for someone to pick you up. Qin Shueru heaved a sigh of relief. At this moment, she had a kind of blind trust in Su Yiyan. Even if she had gone through a checkup, she still wanted to get Su Yiyan's approval before she could be completely at ease. Rest well. In a few months, we'll visit you together. By then, Hua Chenhuan would probably be able to stand up. Yes. After the two of them bade farewell to Qin Shueru, they prepared to go home. Just as they got into the car, Su Yiyan hurriedly said, "My mom and the others aren't usually so long-winded. It's just that they haven't seen me for a while, so they were worried and asked a few more questions. Thank you for your hard work today." Hua Chenhuan shook her head and held Su Yiyan's hand. They're fine. Even if Su Yiyan was married, in their eyes, she was still their most beloved sister, daughter. They cared about her warmly. Perhaps it was because of such a family atmosphere that they could raise such a good person like Su Yiyan. And now, she was his. Su Yiyan was about to say something when her phone suddenly rang. She looked down and was shocked by the text message. Why is there so much money in my account all of a sudden? Su Yiyan repeatedly confirmed the string of zeros on the text message. Just as she was about to call to ask, she was stopped by the person beside her. Yes? Hua Chenhuan looked straight into her eyes with a smile in his eyes. I'm handing in my salary. Chapter 358. What? Su Yiyan's eyes widened. She didn't know how to react. Some of the companies that were transferred to you before were profitable and had dividends. Now that Hua Chenhuan mentioned it, Su Yiyan remembered that Hua Chenhuan had transferred many companies to her when they got married. Su Yiyan didn't pay much attention to it at the time, but she didn't expect. But this is too much, isn't it? Although the Su family wasn't as big as the family Hua, they were still considered a wealthy family. Although her brother and father were in charge of her family's companies, they had never given her less dividends. Su Yiyan thought that her family had given her enough dividends, but now that she saw the amount that Hua Chenhuan handed in, she realized that it paled in comparison. What do those companies of yours do? How did you? Su Yiyan lowered her head and looked at the long string of zeros. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that this amount was enough to buy a company or a shopping mall. Didn't you notice it before? Su Yiyan's mouth twitched. She thought to herself, at that time, I didn't think that what's yours is mine, and what's mine is yours. There's no difference, so there's no need to make such a clear distinction. She didn't pay much attention to it, but who would have thought? Most of the companies on the market are managed by Xiao Yang and the others, but they're in charge of different things. Xian is in charge of the development of virtual simulators. Virtual simulators? Why did this term sound so familiar? Let me give you a simple example. The smell and taste simulators used by online streamers were developed by their company. Su Yiyan was shocked when she heard that. Those things were developed by your company. It's your company now, Hua Chenhuan corrected her and continued. In addition, there are other similar simulators. These simulators have been used on various websites, and each website has to pay you a patent fee every month. Su Yiyan's face stiffened. So, this is the patent fee? The patent fee and a portion of the revenue. Hua Chenhuan thought for a moment and added, there should be more next month. More? Su Yiyan almost choked on his own breath. This was already more than enough. How much more could he get next month? Is there a special project next month? You just said that Xian is in charge of the virtual simulator development. Then Xiao Yang and Yanbai. Xiao Yang is responsible for the development of holographic games. A holographic game? Su Yiyan narrowed her eyes. Is it the holographic game that I'm thinking of? Although she was not a fan of games, she had seen some sci-fi games and sci-fi movies. Naturally, she knew the difference between this so-called holographic game and ordinary games. That should be right. Then you just said that there will be more next month. Could it be, Hua Chenhuan didn't hide anything? The technology for the holographic game has matured. After internal testing this month, it will be officially released at the beginning of next month. First, there were all kinds of virtual simulators, and then there were holographic games. What kind of godly husband did she marry? As if this wasn't exciting enough, Hua Chenhuan's eyelashes trembled slightly. He whispered, "This holographic game will be named after both of our names. The company is now under your name, and all future revenue will be handed over to you." Su Yiyen was a little dizzy from this huge pie. Ah, exciting. Chapter 359. What are our names? Su Yiyen finally woke up from the trance of getting rich overnight and asked, "Who came up with it?" Hua Chenhuan's expression was a little subtle. He turned his face and said, "Xiaoyang's suggestion." Su Yiyen glanced at him suspiciously. She felt that this matter was not so simple. Moreover, even if it was really Gu Xiaoyang's suggestion, how could the final name of the game be decided so hastily without the approval of the boss? Thinking of this, Su Yiyen couldn't help but have a little more sweetness and banter in her eyes. Hua Chenhuan's ears were burning red. "Are you interested in this game?" Su Yiyen nodded. "Quite interested. When the game is tested, I'll ask them to send 2 over for you to play." 2? Do you want to play with me? Hua Chenhuan was silent. Su Yiyen rolled her eyes and smiled slightly. "If you play with me, I'll play. Otherwise, it's boring to play alone." Hua Chenhuan stared at Su Yiyen for a while and compromised. "Okay." Su Yiyen smiled like a flower. Then, she seemed to think of something and asked curiously, "You just said that the 3 of them are responsible for different projects. Xiaoyang and Xian have already said that. What about Yanbai? What is he responsible for?" "He's responsible for robots." Su Yiyen's eyes lit up. "Robots? Are they those intelligent robots? What are their main functions? Can they play with children and do housework?" "Yes, bionic robots. They can basically do everything that humans can do. Some things that humans can't do, they can also do. Yanbai's main direction of development is protective robots." "Protective robots?" "Yes, robots that can protect their owners." Su Yiyen was stunned. She subconsciously glanced at Hua Chenhuan. This robot that could protect its owner, could the original intention of the design be related to him? Hua Chenhuan didn't notice her strangeness and explained, "This function is still under development. It's not mature yet. Yanbai has a few of the robots with basic functions you just mentioned. If you're interested, you can ask him to send one over to play." Su Yiyen's eyes lit up slightly, but she was somewhat worried. "That's not good, is it?" Although it was a semi-finished robot, it was a trade secret. Was it really okay to take it home to play? As if seeing Su Yiyen's in her mind, Hua Chenhuan touched her head and comforted her. "It's okay. This kind of technology is very basic. Yanbai in the habit of locking the core technology during their research. If someone outside of the research lab's people trying to decipher or dismantle it violently, the internal chip self-destructing it." Su Yiyen was a little surprised and curious. She looked at Hua Chenhuan like a puppy asking its owner for a bone. Hua Chenhuan couldn't resist her attack and said helplessly, "I'll ask him to send the robot over tomorrow." Su Yiyen cheered. She felt that she was really the happiest person in the world. Not only was her husband rich, but he was also capable. Not only could he afford to raise her, but he could also let her try out all kinds of novel toys. These were all rare things that couldn't be bought with money. Most importantly, as a big boss with high-tech technology in his hands, her husband was completely different from those programmers. He wasn't bald. The programmers who were bald for their careers. Chapter 360. Su Yiyen was excited all the way, but she only calmed down a little when she returned to the old house. She glanced at Hua Chenhuan's thick hair and felt that she needed to take precautions. Hua Chenhuan? Therefore, the bald fans in the live broadcast room who had been observing for a long time finally saw the light. I went out with my husband today, so I came back a little late. Without further ado, let's talk about the medicinal cuisine we're going to make tonight. The medicinal cuisine we're going to make today is mainly for hair growth and hair loss prevention. We did this once before during the live broadcast. However, we only made one dish, shou wu liver slice. Many comments in the live broadcast room said that although it was effective, it was inevitably a little monotonous after eating too much. Moreover, different conditions lead to hair loss, so eating only shou wu liver slice is not necessarily the right way to treat the hair loss. Su Yiyen paused and coughed lightly. It just so happens that my husband has been staying up late recently to earn money to support the family. I'm also a little worried about his hairline. Therefore, today we're going to make a special live broadcast of hair growth and hair loss prevention. It's convenient for me, and it's also satisfying the wishes of the bald fans who stay up late. It's killing two birds with one stone. Hua Chenhuan, who had just entered the live broadcast room when she found that her hairline had been mentioned, nearly 1/3 of the bald fans in the live broadcast room, rows of ellipses quickly brushed across the screen, showing how speechless everyone was. A few seconds later, someone finally broke the awkward silence and started to cry and wail. Oh my God, when I heard that the host was going to start broadcasting, I rushed over as fast as I could, afraid that I would miss the beginning. Who would have thought that I would be forced to eat dog food in front of me? The host successfully suppressed my emotions. I seriously suspect that the last reason is the main point, and us poor single farmers are just incidental. Okay, if it's not incidental, then is it specially made for you? Wake up, the host's exceptions are only made for her husband. Damn it, I also want a virtuous wife. Single dogs are crying tears of jealousy. Seeing that the host is going to broadcast hair growth and hair loss prevention medicinal cuisine, the bald fans burst into tears on the spot, thinking that spring has arrived for the bald fans. But when I read the second half of the sentence, I forced my tears back. Alright, after all this time, it's not the balding gang spring, but the streamer spring. Is the host's husband also a programmer? I can't afford to offend the baldies who work late into the night every day, sob. The host's husband is working hard to earn money to support the family. The host is working hard to live stream to support her husband. I'm jealous. It's another day of crying for someone else's love. Su Yiyen did not pay attention to the wailing of the actors. First, he took out medicinal herbs such as Gastrodia alata, Poria cocos, and Chuanxiong, and soaked them in water. Then, he cracked the bones of the lamb, dipped the mutton in water, and fished it out for later use. There are two types of hair loss. One is that the hair is dry and falls off in patches. The other is that the hair is oily and the hair follicles fall off. In addition, there are also some early white hair phenomena, which is commonly known as young white hair. In fact, it is also related to the lack of nutrition in the hair. The first medicinal cuisine we're going to make today is black chicken soup with Chinese yam and cooked ground. It mainly uses Chinese yam, cooked ground, plantain seed, poria, and other medicinal herbs, as well as black chicken legs. This soup has the effect of curing hair loss, nourishing the kidney and nourishing the blood. It also has a very significant effect on the first condition mentioned just now. Chapter 361. As Su Yiyen spoke, she dipped the black chicken leg in water and put it into the casserole pot. Then, she added a pile of medicinal herbs and boiled them with water before lowering the heat to a simmer. Taking advantage of this gap, she grabbed a prepared carp. After cutting it a few times, she stuffed the previously soaked fulling and chuanxiong into the belly of the fish. The fish I'm making now is called Gastrodia alata carp. The medicinal herb Gastrodia alata needs to be soaked for a few hours in advance to completely soften it. After that, it needs to be steamed before it can be used. Otherwise, there is no way to integrate the medicinal properties into the fish. As Su Yiyen spoke, she put the Gastrodia alata on the drawer to steam. Today, she opened the live broadcast book on a whim. She didn't have time to gather the ingredients immediately. Fortunately, the medicinal herbs planted on the farm could be in a dry or wet state before harvesting. When she took out the Gastrodia alata, it was already in a wet state, which saved her a lot of trouble. After the Gastrodia alata was cooked, Su Yiyen stuffed it into the knife and the belly of the fish. Then, she steamed it with scallions and ginger on the drawer. The third dish is lamb bone porridge. The cooking method is relatively simple. I've just dipped the lamb and lamb bones in water. Just cut them and put them in. The main point is this medicine bag. Su Yiyen took out a small medicine bag and put it in front of the camera so that the audience could see it. This medicine bag contains cooked ground, Chinese yam, dodder, walnut kernel, and more than a dozen other medicinal herbs. The ingredients are relatively complex. The dosage is also prepared in advance. Considering that everyone might not be familiar with these things, and that it would be troublesome to make them yourself, I will ask the people in the restaurant to help me make them and pack them up. If you want to bring them back, you can buy them from the restaurant when the time comes. In addition, after today's live broadcast, I will draw a few lucky audience members to give it away. When the audience in the live broadcast room heard that there were more than a dozen medicinal herbs in the small bag, many of them who were not in the same city as Su Yiyen, who originally wanted to steal it and get someone to buy it back to try it for themselves, could not help but want to retreat. Then, they heard that Su Yiyen would make these small bags and sell them directly. She would also draw a lottery to give them away. In an instant, they became spirited again. "Host, please take care of me. I pray that you will draw me. Immortal host, as long as I buy this small bag, I can try to cook porridge myself. I'll buy it tomorrow. I hope it's not too expensive. The price of the streamer's shop is very reasonable. What you should be worried about is not the price, but whether there will be too many people fighting for it tomorrow." When Su Yiyen saw their messages, he smiled and threw the medicine packets into the pot to boil the soup. He smiled and said, "Don't worry about the price. It's still the same as before. We'll strive to make it affordable for most people." Su Yiyen could not guarantee that everyone could afford it, but it was still possible for most people to try it once in a while. The essence of the lamb bones needed to be stewed for a period of time before it could flow into the soup. Su Yiyen took advantage of this time to boil an egg with the Chinese knotweed. Then, she made a dessert, sesame kelp cake. The white sesame seed contains many nutrients that the human body needs. It can prevent our hair from turning white and falling off prematurely. Su Yiyen put the clean and dry white sesame seeds into the pot and stir-fried them until they were fragrant. Then, she ground them into powder and added them together with the kelp powder into the starch to make a dough and steamed it in the pot. At this time, the lamb bone soup was almost done. She fished out the small bag of medicine and added the washed rice into the pot. Then, she stir-fried a large spoonful of seasoning oil and poured it over the steamed carp. Chapter 362. With a click, the originally light and thin carp seemed to be infused with a soul in an instant. A faint white smoke wrapped in a domineering smell swept through the entire kitchen and the live broadcast room, shocking everyone. After the familiar few seconds of silence, a series of rumors emerged one after another, densely packed and stacked on top of each other. If not, they would almost cover Su Yiyen's face. "This fish is amazing. I'm crying while eating. This fish is so delicious. It's fragrant and tender. Every time I watch the host cook fish, I have an inexplicable feeling of being in a trance. It's obviously the same fish and the same cooking method. Why is it that the fish I cook is not as delicious as the host's? What I lack is this fish and these hands. What I lack is the host. I really didn't expect a fish to be cooked in so many different ways. The previous braised fish was more fresh and fragrant, but this one is different. The outside is charred and crispy, but the inside is very sweet, fresh, and tender. It also has a sweet taste. It should be because of the Gastrodia alata. All in all, it's not fishy at all. It's not greasy at all. I worship the boss above. He completely described the essence of this dish. After eating for a long time, I can only squeeze out 2 words: delicious. Su Yiyen took the fish to the side and stirred the porridge. The essence of the lamb bones had been completely integrated into the soup and seeped into the rice through the soup. It smelled quite tempting and made people want to eat it. In addition, the black chicken soup with cooked yam was almost ready. Su Yiyen scooped some out and put it next to the fish, preparing to take it out together later. After the fish, soup, and porridge were all out of the pot, Su Yiyen fished out the eggs that were almost cooked from the soup. At this time, the sesame seaweed cake was almost ready. The dough that had swelled due to the heat became transparent and soft, like a piece of jelly, crystal clear. Su Yiyen quickly carved a few pink flowers with radishes and put them on the edge of the snow-white plate, matching a few small square pieces of sesame seaweed cake in the center. It didn't look like a plate of dessert, but more like a work of art. Many people were reluctant to eat it. Many girls took a liking to this pastry at first glance. They rubbed their small hands and secretly prayed that they would be chosen. After finishing all the dishes in one go, Su Yiyen breathed a sigh of relief. She picked up a white towel and wiped her hands, saying, "The dishes are all done. As usual, I can't send the fish. As for the other dishes, I'll pick a lucky audience member to send them. Those who didn't get selected, don't be sad. The dishes in today's live broadcast will be available in the restaurant one after another. Those who like them can make a reservation in advance." Su Yiyen's words did not comfort those suffering bald men. Not to mention that there were always some of them who were not in a city. Just the number of guests that the restaurant received every day was already enough to make a bunch of people die. However, no matter how much they complained, Su Yiyen couldn't do anything about it. This was already the limit of the carnival hall. Any more and everyone would be overworked, and the loss would outweigh the gain. After that, Su Yiyen briefly introduced the corresponding hair loss symptoms of several dishes. She divided some of the dishes into a lucky draw and gave them away. Then, she left the small kitchen and ran to call Hua Chenhuan to eat. Hua Chenhuan turned her wheelchair out of the room. Seeing the table full of delicious dishes, she should have had a big appetite. But when she thought that the dishes on the table were all for her hairline, Hua Chenhuan couldn't help but twitch the corners of her eyes and feel complicated. Chapter 363. Hua Jinyao, who felt that his hairline was still very solid, finished the meal with a subtle expression on his face. Little did he know that this meal, which he was extremely resistant to, was a supreme honor in the eyes of some people. He didn't know how lucky he was. That night, Hua Chenhuan called Zhua Yanbai first and asked him to send a small robot to her house early the next morning. It didn't have many functions, as long as it could help relieve boredom. Zhua Yanbai was not stupid. He immediately guessed that this robot was for young mistress. While he agreed, he said thoughtfully, "Young master, many people in the company watched young mistress's live stream today." Hua Chenhuan's face darkened. He recalled that Su Yiyen had explicitly said that she was worried about his hairline in the live stream. Now, he was afraid that everyone in his company would think that his hairline was in danger. Zhua Yanbai had no idea that his young master's focus was a little off. He didn't understand his young master's hint at all. When he saw that Hua Jinyao didn't say anything, he had no choice but to bite the bullet and continue. After watching the live stream, many people in the company hope that young mistress can save their poor hair. Hua Chenhuan narrowed her eyes. If they want to eat it, they can order it from a medicinal cuisine restaurant. The corners of Zhua Yanbai's eyes twitched slightly. I told them the same thing, but they said that young mistress's medicinal cuisine restaurant is already half a year away. If they really wait until then, I'm afraid that nearly half of the people in the company will have become bald. Although this sounded a little funny, it wasn't impossible. In order to research and develop the protective robot, they would probably have to continue working overtime for the next 6 months or even a year. Although this kind of research and development paid high salaries and gave a high sense of accomplishment, it wasn't an exaggeration to say that these achievements were exchanged for their thin hair and receding hairlines. If they had a choice, who would want to be bald? Who would want to be bald? Hua Chenhuan followed Zui Yanbai's words and tried to imagine a scene where nearly half of the people in the company were light bulbs. Seeing that Hua Chenhuan was silent again, Zui Yanbai was a little distressed. I heard that the employees in Young Mistress's restaurant have the benefit of tasting the medicinal cuisine for free. Because of this, many people in the company have already thought of quitting and applying for a job at Young Mistress's restaurant. Hua Jimiao was speechless. You're a high-tech intellectual who's coding, why are you applying for a job at my wife's restaurant? Do errands, Young Mistresses, Zui Yanbai, Young Mistress, Zui Yanbai's words. Following Yu Zian's example of praising Su Yiyan, Zui Yanbai said, Young Master and Young Mistress are a family. Husband and wife are one. Now that all of our companies are under Young Mistress's name, they can be considered as Young Mistress's companies. Hua Chenhuan was speechless. Although he had planned to give his companies to Su Yiyan as a betrothal gift, he never thought that these outstanding backbones that he had painstakingly cultivated would be seduced away by his wife's meal. Should he be angry? Or should he be happy? Zui Yanbai was used to losing face. He coughed lightly and said even more shamelessly, ahem. Well, we don't ask for the same benefits as the employees in Young Mistress's restaurant. We just hope that Young Mistress can give our employees a back door so that they can cut in line for Young Master's sake. Hua Chenhuan was speechless. Chapter 364. Zui Yanbai sounded so pitiful that he almost shouted at Hua Chenhuan, save the child. Hua Chenhuan hung up the phone with a cold face, but she still took his words to heart. Su Yiyan received a call from Xia Junqing shortly after dinner. He told her about Luo Weibing. Ning Chirui has already talked to Luo Weibing. He asked him to bring his sister's test report to the Ning family tomorrow afternoon. You can go and have a look. Both Ning Chirui and Luo Weibing were public figures, and they were popular topics. If they were photographed by some media when they met outside, it would cause another uproar. For this reason, Xia Junqing discussed with Ning Chirui's agent and decided to meet at Ning Chirui's house. The Ning family was located in a high-end villa area with strict security. No matter how good the paparazzi were, they could not easily sneak in. Yes, is there any problem with the Ning family? You don't have to worry about this. They were very happy when they heard that you were coming. They said that they wanted to see you for a long time. Su Yiyan nodded and muttered, well, can I bring my family? Xia Junqing's eyebrows twitched. He felt that this topic was not very friendly to a single person like him. It should be, okay. Su Yiyan heard Xia Junqing's uncertainty and did not embarrass him. She chuckled and said, forget it, I'll ask them myself. Su Yiyan asked Xia Junqing for Ning Chirui's contact information and called him directly. Ning Chirui's health had improved a lot during this time, and his family did not restrict his contact with the outside world. When he received a call from Su Yiyan, Ning Chirui was still a little surprised. He thought that she had something to tell him about the meeting with Luo Weibing tomorrow afternoon. As a result, you come to my house to see someone and bring your family? Why, can't I? Ning Chirui's mouth twitched slightly, and he could not help but say, are you conjoined twins? You have to take me with you wherever you go. Su Yiyan said shyly and confidently, oh, we are newlyweds. Naturally, we don't want to be separated for a moment. You're still young, so it's normal that you don't understand. Ning Chirui. What did she mean by, I'm still young, so it's normal that I don't understand? Is she mocking me for being young and not having been in a relationship before? But screw you. You're the one who's young. Your whole family is young. I'm not young. So, do you agree or not? I'm just bringing a family member. It's not like I'm staying at your place for dinner. Do you have to be so stingy? Ning Chirue almost exploded in anger. What did she mean by not leaving food at my house? Was that what he cared about? However, when he thought about how much food he had eaten during this period of time, Ning Chirue suddenly became weak. In the end, he snorted coldly, "If you want to come, then come. Is there anyone stopping you? But be careful, please don't do anything inappropriate in public." "Alright, if there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. I'm a patient and need to rest early." After Ning Chirue finished speaking, he did not wait for Su Yiyen's reaction and ended the call. Su Yiyen was stunned for a while before she reacted. "What do you mean by, please don't do anything inappropriate in public? When did Shenhuan and I?" Su Yiyen was both angry and amused, but in the end, she could not do anything to him. She could only secretly think that she would go over tomorrow and give him 2 more injections. Ning Chirue, who had no idea that his cheap mouth had caused another disaster for himself, suddenly felt a chill down his spine. He had a faint premonition that there seemed to be a wicked person who wanted to harm him. Chapter 365. After dealing with Ning Chirue, Su Yiyen got up and looked around. She frowned slightly as if she had sensed something. She felt that she seemed to have forgotten something. Su Yiyen walked around the house a few times but could not remember what she had forgotten. She had no choice but to give up. Forget it, she would think about it later. At that time, a certain child, who had unfortunately been forgotten by the 2 adults in the Su family, looked at the dark night outside the window with a sad face. "Little Dun Dun, don't be afraid. Yen Yen doesn't want you anymore, but I'm still your uncle. Come, I'll take you to take a bath. We can go to bed after you're done bathing." Su Yuxuan squatted in front of Dun Dun and revealed the legendary weird uncle's smile. Dun Dun's dull eyes finally reacted after hearing the word bath. It kicked forward with its short legs and kicked Su Yuxuan's handsome face with a force that did not match its small body. Then, while Su Yuxuan was still in a daze, it ran away with its short legs. Su Yuxuan was stunned for a few seconds before he reacted. He hurriedly got up to catch Dun Dun. "Hey, don't run, come back. Woof woof woof, woof woof woof." It would be stupid if it did not run at this time. It was not stupid. Just like that, one ran and the other chased. The Su family was still in chaos and lively in the middle of the night. The next morning, Zui Yanbai personally sent the little robot to the door. When he saw Hua Chenhuan, his eyes were full of pleading and longing. Hua Chenhuan was speechless. Su Yiyen did not know about the little episode between the 2. As soon as he learned that Zui Yanbai had sent the little robot over, he immediately ran down from upstairs and said excitedly, "Is this a smart little robot? Let me see." Zui Yanbai quickly moved aside, allowing Su Yiyen to clearly see the little robot's true appearance. It was a little robot about 1 meter tall, and every part of its body looked round. Its head was round, its hands were round, its feet were round, and even its small body was round. It looked like an enlarged version of a glutinous rice ball. Su Yiyen's eyes lit up. She immediately fell in love with this cute little guy. Does it have a name? No, the robots that haven't been sold yet don't have names, only numbers. It's convenient for customers to name the robots themselves after buying them. The serial number of this robot is 001. 001? Su Yiyen was startled and immediately thought of a certain system. System, look at her. She's so cute. Unlike you, who often can't even squeeze out a word after poking for a long time. Su Yiyen was just routinely teasing the system, and he did not expect it to respond. Unexpectedly, the next second, he heard a familiar mechanical voice. "Host, please do not compare the system with such a low-level robot." It was clearly a rigid statement, but Su Yiyen could hear a trace of disdain and annoyance in it. This was the first time Su Yiyen felt emotions from the system's reply. Although he was surprised, he could not help but feel a little more interested. His eyes turned slightly, and he looked at the little robot with a smile. It hasn't been turned on yet? How do I use it? Zhua Yanbai did not say anything. Instead, he looked at Hua Chenhuan. Hua Chenhuan glanced at him, then took the initiative to bring up the control panel and press it. Su Yiyan could only see his fingers typing a bunch of things on the panel. It was so fast that there were afterimages. Following his movements, Su Yiyan's eyes widened, and his heart thumped. There was only one thought left in his mind. No wonder people said that men were the most handsome when they were focused. Her husband was really handsome. Chapter 366. Ding dong, the notification sound of the page opening successfully pulled Su Yiyan back from his infatuation. Give it a name. Hua Chenhuan turned to look at Su Yiyan with a hint of indulgence between his eyebrows. Me? The person who names it will be its owner. Su Yiyan was enlightened. He carefully looked at the little robot and muttered, look at how round its body is, why don't we call it Yuan Yuan? Hua Chenhuan, Zhua Yanbai, the system, Su Yiyan even thought that the name was quite good. It fit the little robot's appearance and was catchy. What do you think? As long as you're happy. Therefore, this little robot that could not be bought with money was given a name so carelessly. However, the people around could not help but praise the person who named it against their will. It was a good name, a good name, a good name. The little robot. Weak, helpless, and pitiful. After Su Yiyan gave the little robot a name, he seemed to have thought of something and continued to harass the system. Do you want me to give you a name too? 001 or whatever it is sounds very perfunctory. The system. Compared to a name like Yuan Yuan, it felt that 001 was quite good. In order to avoid this fatal problem, the system wisely chose to play dead. No matter how much Su Yiyan poked it, it was not willing to make a sound. Su Yiyan poked for a long time but did not get a response. He quickly gave up and continued to torment the little robot. After entering the name, there was another notification sound. The little robot's big black eyes suddenly lit up, and its internal system finally started to operate. Hello, this is the intelligent little robot Yuan Yuan. From today onwards, I will serve you wholeheartedly. I hope that the owner will like me, love me, and treat me as a member of the family. After the rigid mechanical voice, it turned into a childish voice. Hello, big sister master, I'm number 001 AI, Yuan Yuan. Don't be fooled by my small size, I'm very useful. Su Yiyan was startled by her cheerful tone and her tone, which seemed to be asking for credit. She looked at Hua Chenhuan and asked with a smile, then what can you do? Yuan Yuan can carry the dishes, wash the clothes, clean the house, carry the table, change the light bulbs, and build the manor. Pfft. Su Yiyan listened to the little robot's childish voice as it said that it could carry a table and change light bulbs. For some reason, he felt like he was illegally hiring child labor. You're so capable. How much should I pay you a month? Master, you don't need to pay Yuan Yuan a salary. You just need to let Yuan Yuan eat her fill and have the strength to work. Full. Su Yiyan was slightly startled. Do you mean to recharge your batteries? No need. As soon as Su Yiyan finished speaking, Hua Chenhuan added, it uses a solar panel. You just need to let it bask in the sun every day. Under normal circumstances, it can be used for 1 to 2 months after basking in the sun for 1 to 2 days. Oh wow. It could operate normally just by basking in the sun, and it could be used for 1 to 2 months. This was simply an extremely long standby. Thinking about it this way, even if this little robot couldn't protect its owner, it could still take on multiple roles. It could be a nanny, a pet, or even a playmate for children at home. It was simply a multi-purpose treasure chest. It was so much better than those little pets that always gave their owners attitude and ate a lot. Dun Dun, who was caught off guard, was confused. Chapter 367. It's fine as long as it's full. What a low requirement. At the very least, it should be enough to eat and wear warm clothes. How about this? I'll ask Uncle Zhang to prepare a few small clothes for you to change into so that you can wear them to work every day. You can change out of them when they get dirty, okay? Rolly Yuan's round eyes instantly turned into crescents, and its tender voice was tinged with pure joy. Okay, Rolly Yuan will be responsible for washing the dirty clothes that you change out of. Its crisp voice coupled with its round shape really made people want to hold it in the palm of their hands and give it a few kisses. Do your own things, Rolly Yuan is so obedient. As Su Yiyen spoke, she seemed to have thought of something and frowned. But Rolly Yuan, are you a boy or a girl? Hua Chenhuan, pfft. Zhua Yanbai couldn't help but laugh out loud. Then, he was rewarded with a cold glare by his young master. He was so scared that he shivered and lowered his head to hide the smile on his face. Su Yiyen didn't seem to care. She only raised her head and looked at Hua Chenhuan in confusion. In her opinion, this little fellow was a product of Hua Chenhuan's company, so Hua Chenhuan should have some say in this matter. Cough, robots don't have a clear gender. If you like girls, dress it up as girls. If you like boys, dress it up as boys. As soon as she finished speaking, Rolly Yuan continued, Rolly Yuan can be a girl or a boy, depending on master's needs. I can do anything. Su Yiyen. What kind of heartwarming little angel was this? Then it's better to be a girl. You can wear all kinds of little dresses. Su Yiyen looked at Rolly Yuan and felt that it would be more convenient for it to wear dresses. However, Hua Chenhuan and Zhua Yanbai didn't think so at all. The two of them looked at each other. They inexplicably suspected that the reason why the short-legged robot liked to wear lace dresses was not because of its personal preference, but because of its master, Su Yiyen. Su Yiyen didn't know what the two of them were thinking. After confirming the gender of the little robot, it would take some time for someone to send some children's clothes over. She rolled her eyes and turned into the small kitchen. Seeing this, Zhua Yanbai couldn't help but whisper to Hua Chenhuan, Young master, is young madam raising 001 like a child? Although Hua Chenhuan thought the same, she still scolded coldly, what 001? It's called Yuan Yuan. Zhua Yanbai. Alright, whatever you say. As long as you're happy. Su Yiyen went to the kitchen to find an apron that she usually wore and put it on Yuan Yuan. The short skirt fit Yuan Yuan's body just right above his little round penis, and it was surprisingly fitting. The cute snowman pattern in the middle of the apron also looked very compatible with Yuan Yuan. Su Yiyen looked it up and down and said with satisfaction, not bad. I'll make do with it today. I'll change you into a beautiful dress tomorrow. Roly Poly, on the other hand, was very satisfied with this somewhat simple apron. There was even a faint blush on her cheeks. Yuan Yuan likes small skirts. Su Yiyen smiled, is that so? It seems that Yuan Yuan is indeed a girl. In the future, master will change Yuan Yuan's salary into small skirts. Yes, yes. The pitiful and forgotten Zai Zai finally returned home under Su Yuxuan's escort. When it saw this scene, it was as if it was struck by lightning. What a heartless master. It had only been a day since it left home, and he already had a new lover. Chapter 368. Dun Dun was like a grieving wife who had caught her husband secretly meeting with a mistress. Its little penis was kicking as it struggled to escape from Su Yuxuan's embrace. Su Yuxuan was shocked. She wanted to hold it down, but she was worried that she would injure it severely. In a fluster, it quickly escaped. As soon as Dun Dun broke free from Su Yuxuan's embrace, it immediately ran in the direction of the little robot, barking as it ran. Dun Dun? Su Yiyen was stunned for a moment. When she saw Dun Dun flying towards the little robot, she subconsciously stood in front of the little robot to prevent Dun Dun from pouncing on the little robot. Unexpectedly, in the next second, she heard a familiar mechanical voice behind her. An attacking object has been detected. It is recommended that you immediately expel it. Expel. Before Su Yiyen had time to understand what this meant, she saw the little robot's cute little round hands suddenly retract. When it reappeared, it had become a hand-shaped paddle. Paw, woof. Dun Dun, who was originally aggressive and wanted to take down the mistress, flew out in a parabola and let out a terrified scream. Hua Chenhuan, Zui Yanbai, Su Yuxuan, who had rushed in to try and stop Dun Dun. In the end, Su Yiyen, the biological mother, was the first to react. She screamed and ran over to check on Dun Dun's situation. Fortunately, it was lucky. After it was sent flying by Yuan, it just happened to plunge into the grass outside the door and not into the rose bushes next to it. When Su Yiyen dug it out from the grass, it only had a few leaves on its body and its fur was dirty. The whole dog was dizzy and couldn't stand steadily, but its life was not in danger. Su Yiyen picked up Dun Dun and checked it from head to toe. After making sure that it was really fine, she heaved a sigh of relief and lowered her head to poke its little head. You, what should I say about you? Didn't I tell you not to pounce on others casually? Woof, Dun Dun let out a pitiful cry, looking at Su Yiyen with eyes full of complaints. Not only did you leave your little darling outside, you even found a new lover. It was one thing for him to have a new lover, but at this time, he was actually criticizing him for his new lover. You heartless master. Dun Dun was filled with grievances when the little robot ran over and asked its master, detected an aggressive life form. Do you want to expel it? Su Yiyen was slightly stunned. Only then did he understand what the little robot meant by banishing the dog. He laughed and said, "This is our family's dog. We can't banish it." Yuan received the order and ding dong, master's pet dog. Information has been backed up. No need to expel it. Yuan carefully and conscientiously checked the surrounding dangerous creatures for its master, but it didn't know that this action once again poked Dun Dun's sensitive little heart. This shameless little fairy not only charmed its master, but also wanted its master to chase it away. If this could be tolerated, what else could be tolerated? Woof woof woof, woof woof woof. Dun Dun struggled to bare its teeth at Yuan, struggling to pounce on it. Yuan's dimmed eyes lit up again with a faint light, detected that this dog is aggressive. Do you want to punish it on the spot? Punish? Su Yiyen couldn't help but gasp. What do you want to do? Kill it on the spot and make it into a dog meat hot pot? Chapter 369. Su Yiyen looked at the dog and robot who were like fire and water. She helplessly held her forehead and felt a headache coming on. She reached out and patted Dun Dun's head, then rubbed its fur. She gently advised, Dun Dun, be good. This is Yuan, the new member of our family. You two have to get along well and be harmonious and friendly. Don't fight. When Dun Dun heard Su Yiyen's words, it did not continue to yell at Yuan. However, it suddenly turned around and faced Yuan with its butt. It was clear that it would not cooperate unless there was violence. There was absolutely no possibility of peaceful coexistence. Su Yiyen rubbed her aching head and sighed helplessly. Hua Chenhuan held her hand and comforted her. Maybe it's because there's suddenly an unfamiliar thing in the house. It'll be fine after a few days. I hope so. What is this? A robot? When the two heard the familiar voice, they subconsciously turned their heads and only then did they notice Su Yuxuan standing at the side. Brother? When did you come? Su Yuxuan was a little dissatisfied with his sister's neglect. He coldly snorted and said, I came with this little guy. You left it at home yesterday. This little heartless thing used to stay at home when you were at home. Now that you're married, this little fellow has also turned against us. He's been jumping up and down the whole night, wanting to find you, causing a huge commotion in our house. Look at the dark circles under my eyes. It was all caused by this little bastard last night. Su Yiyen listened to her brother's complaints and a rare look of embarrassment appeared on her face. No wonder she kept feeling that she had missed something last night. It turned out that she had left this little thing at home. I talked to my aunt yesterday and left Dun Dun at home. This little guy has been quite restless recently. Thank you for your hard work last night. Su Yuxuan sighed and did not continue to dwell on this issue. Instead, he turned his attention to the little robot at the side. This little thing is a robot? Intelligent? Su Yiyen did not say anything. Instead, she glanced at Hua Chenhuan. Hua Chenhuan didn't hide anything. It's our company's new product. We'll bring it back for Yan Yan to play with. Just treat it as a product test. Oh. Su Yuxuan was obviously very interested in this little robot, but in the end, she didn't ask Hua Chenhuan for it. However, Hua Chenhuan saw through his thoughts at a glance. Her eyes flashed slightly, and she smiled faintly. This project is not very mature yet. When it's perfected, I'll give one to Big Brother to play with. The expression on Su Yuxuan's face stiffened, and he became angry out of humiliation. Don't think that you can bribe me like this. We're all a family. What's the point of talking about bribing? If you have something good, don't tell me you're going to give it to strangers instead of your family. Su Yuxuan's eyes flickered. After a few minutes, he finally relented and said, "All right then. When you're done, sell me one to bring home." Hua Chenhuan's lips curved slightly, but she didn't refute. When the time came, wouldn't it be up to him to sell or give it away? This robot's technology is not mature yet. There won't be any danger in leaving it at home, right? No, our robot's priority is to protect its owner. Its owner is Yan Yan. Su Yuxuan was completely relieved. In the end, he looked at the little robot a few more times before leaving. During the conversation between the two, Su Yiyen didn't interrupt from beginning to end. It wasn't until Su Yuxuan left that he couldn't help but laugh out loud. You really know how to win people's hearts. If you give this robot away, my brother won't be able to find fault with you in the future. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.